Hello everyone, TLSG here, back again with another Marvel Snap video. So today, it is right at season refresh time. It hasn't even been a full minute since the season is refreshed, and we are here to unlock the season pass card as quickly as possible to get our hands on it and to try it out. Okay, and so we have the new season. We have a mystery box which contains, oh yeah, broke my game. Okay, round two. Mystery box, we'll go ahead and claim it. No, is it? Oh no. Well, to the Discord. Alright, so we have the new season pass here. It looks like our new card is Daredevil. So everyone was thinking it was She-Hulk, myself included. And so this one is a two cost, 2 power card. On turn 5, you get to see your opponent's play before you make your own. Okay, so trying to think of a way that this is going to be beneficial. So I could see this being beneficial if you have initiative. It's going to be very scenario based. If you have initiative and if you have like counterplay type cards, you could potentially get some decent upside from this. And so I don't know. It's going to take some tweaking, but I think a deck list that has several counterplay potentials may be somewhat decent here. So the rewards otherwise look fairly standard. I'm going to go ahead and unlock the card and then we will jump into the deck draft. All right, so we did end up drafting a deck list, and I started by thinking, what are your high impact, your high quality turn 5 plays? And one that really stood out in my mind, your standard Professor X plays. So Professor X is always a coin flip. You can very rarely know for sure that you're going to get the upside from Professor X and from locking down that lane. Daredevil is going to be kind of the key to making sure that we can get that lockdown, or if we can't, then maybe we decide to play our Iron Man, our Doc Ock instead, to push power instead of locking down a lane. But if we can have a pretty good advantage in one lane, sneak a lockdown in another, that's going to be huge. A couple of the other thoughts I had with Daredevil, you can use this in a deck where you're wanting to send them stuff, so like a Green Goblin, a Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin is always a difficult card to trigger reliably. You never know for sure if they're going to cap out that location or not. And so with Daredevil, you can now guarantee that you send your Hobgoblin, or you can guarantee that you send a Green Goblin and a Viper combo, so that both of them trigger. You're not going to end up stuck with whatever that Viper was wanting to send in that Green Goblin in your lane. So you can get some pretty cool upside from this. And then the last thing that I thought off the top of my head was a Spider-Man play. Typically you want to play Spider-Man on turn 5. You're going to be able to drop Spider-Man wherever they're not playing resources on turn 5 to lock down that location so you can swing it easily and focus more so on dropping your resources in one of the other lanes. But the only one that really fit here was our Professor X play. And so to be able to do a reliable Professor X play, we wanted to make sure that we have an early game lead. And I don't know of a single other deck that I have ran that has felt better at consistently getting an early game lead than this one. The Magic, Doc Ock, Shang-Chi, Killmonger, glorious deck that it is really good at winning up through turn 4 and then slow playing and countering your opponent. And so Daredevil, I think, fits pretty well into that archetype, and I'm really excited to kind of try out that build. And so I'm going to run through the deck really quickly. Like I said, we have a lot of focus on winning the early game, and Adam Warlock, if we can win a lane for 1 or 2 turns, with Adam Warlock in place, then we can much more consistently draw all of our combo pieces, which is going to make this deck list much more reliable. We have our new card, Daredevil, which he's here to help us lock down a turn 5 combo, whether that be dropping a Doc Ock in a lane that they're not playing resources, or that they're playing resources that they may not want to pull in additional cards. So maybe they're playing a Jubilee, and you can Doc Ock and pull all of their cards so that their Jubilee won't actually trigger, as long as you have initiative. We have Groot, which on reveal, if your opponent played a card here this turn, plus 3 power. This is a great follow-up turn to Adam Warlock. Same thing with Maximus. If them having cards is not too big of an issue, then you can follow up Adam Warlock with Maximus to get the win for that turn in that lane if it was empty otherwise. We have Killmonger as a turn 7 style play, or just as a way to kill off 1-drop cards. We have Daredevil. So with the focus on Adam Warlock and pulling in additional cards with this deck list, Daredevil is going to tend to be anywhere from 10 to 14 power, and it's going to be a huge drop on turn 7 if we just need to do a Killmonger. Let's say we don't need to do a Shang-Chi, or we can do a Devil Dino and a Maximus for something like 20 power push on turn 7 when they probably have their lanes locked down, and all we have to do is swing over a certain amount of power. We have Shang-Chi as a way to counter any big cards we pull in with Doc Ock, or just any big cards that are placed on the board. We have Drax, which is another good follow-up to the turn 2 or turn 3 Adam Warlock. Drax is going to on reveal if your opponent played a card here this turn plus 4 power. This is going to be good for your last turn where they only have like maybe 1 or 2 lanes to play into. You can trigger Drax much more consistently. Then we have quite a few high power 5-drop cards. So we have Iron Man, which if we need to propel our power level, based on what we see with Daredevil, we'll be able to choose to do that. Magic is typically a turn 6 play, so we generally will not drop her on turn 5, but if we ever see the need, maybe we will. Professor X, which is what I'm most excited about using Daredevil for, we're going to be able to sneak that into a lane, lock down a location. We'll be able to snap before it goes off because most likely it will result in a concede, but we'll be able to lock down a lane sneakily with our Professor X play. And then we have the last card as Doc Ock, which is a 5 cost card, 10 power, so a pretty big board presence, and on reveal you pull 4 random cards from your opponent's hand to their side of this location. So this is going to allow us to make sure that they cap out a lane so that we can then follow up with a turn 6 magic, and then we can either do a Shang-Chi, a Killmonger, or drop our big units to push our power level up over what is needed there. And so that is the general idea. There could be arguments that maybe a ramp component to get one of these 5 drops more consistently or easier might be good. So like a Psylocke. But I do want to kind of test this list out. There will be some refinement, but I think this is going to be a pretty solid day 1 first glimpse of the card deck draft to be able to jump in and try out. And so with that being said, we are going to go ahead and jump into a few games. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, so first up we have Jareth. And in our starting hand, we have some really high cost cards, at least for this deck list and for this curve. So we're going to need to draw into like our Adam Warlock. Group is a good start, but without Adam Warlock, we can't really guarantee where they're planning on playing their resources, and so it becomes difficult. And so with Elysium, cards are going to cost 1 less. I think we just go ahead and drop our Devil Dino here. We don't know exactly where they're going to drop resources. Next turn, we'll be able to do a Doc Ock, which should give us some decent upside. They do a Spider-Man super early, which is so interesting, unless they're going to do like an Odin to re-trigger that maybe on turn 5 if they use a wave here. I guess is a possibility, but we're going to pull in all but one of their cards, most likely from Elysium here, courtesy of the reduced cost in Elysium. So we are going to get all of their cards out of their hand here. This is huge. We're not going to be able to get a Daredevil bonus, unfortunately. Magneto does pull our big resource of Devil Dino over. We do change it with magic. Okay, so we get that out of the way. We don't have to drop our magic anymore. They go ahead and drop a Killmonger, so they're running a similar deck list to us, maybe? And then they push our Doc Ock over into the danger room. We're going to go ahead and snap off of that one. Their Juggernaut sabotaged them because we pulled it out. It pushed our Doc Ock over into the danger room, which they were planning on sneaking out a lockdown with Professor X. Oh my gosh. Oh, such luck. The random series of events that happened there was just unbelievable. And then we knew that we were probably going to be able to swing Limbo with a Shang-Chi play because they are capped out currently. So we had a lot of upside on them. All right, so next up we have Skull. And in our starting hand, we do have our Daredevil play here. And so we're going to be able to drop that, and we have our Professor X, which is perfect. We're going to be able to try to lock down a location, potentially Danger Room if they don't drop resources there, but they did. They're going to take that risk, and okay, so it gets destroyed. We know that on turn 5, if they don't drop anything here, we have a pretty good chance of being able to sneak away their upside from that location. I almost want to go ahead and drop our Maximus. If they only drop one card, they're not going to get, I guess they'll get the full upside from it here. And we gave them 2 extra cards that got hit with their Nakia. So very, 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 very unfortunate play for us there. But we do know that we're going to be able to see their play before next turn, so maybe we can kind of sneak away some upside from them here. We're going to go ahead and do our Devil Dino, knowing that we're going to have the chance to extend the game with magic. I think we will be able to lock down a location on turn 5. Ooh, so they play a lot of cards into the Gila, Lechugia. And so they have the Angela, the Nightcrawler. They have a pretty low to the ground swarm style deck, which is going to be hard to beat this location. But if we get a Killmonger, we can take out most of this lane. If we have a decent unit over there otherwise, we have a pretty good shot here. And so Daredevil's effect does look pretty cool. It looks pretty sleek. And so now we're just waiting for them to play. Okay, and so they are going to drop an Iron Man into Mojo World. So we know that we're going to get the free lockdown from our Danger Room here. We know that they're running a Swarm style deck, so they're going to probably cap out Mojo World next turn, which is going to allow us to, we're going to go ahead and snap, which is going to allow us to know if we have it won or not. And so we know we get the upside from our Professor X here. Beautiful, beautiful play from our Daredevil, knowing that we have it locked down for sure. It gives you the peace of mind. You no longer have that question, that doubt of that coin flip victory, of whether you're going to win that coin flip or not. And so here we are going to drop our magic, and then I think we have a little bit of flexibility. I anticipate that they cap this lane out this turn, and then what we'll be able to do, yeah, they do. They cap both of these lanes out, and so we will be able to drop a card here, probably our Iron Man. Ooh, so, oh no, we can't because it got hit with Iceman. We will be able to drop a Killmonger though, which is going to take away their upside. Of all 3 of these cards, they're going to be left with 1 card in Mojo World. We honestly don't even need our 4 power here. All we need is Killmonger. We can do Killmonger trigger, and then we could just do our Drax just for giggles, because we are going to have a 100-point upside in Mojo World because of that Killmonger trigger. And so we're going to go ahead and lock that in. We're going to take our 4-cube victory lap here. Just absolutely beautiful play with the Professor X. That's so satisfying. Whenever I first saw Daredevil, I was like, that's kind of underwhelming. But if you go with some of those less reliable turn 5 plays that can really swing a game, having that information is huge. We're going to go ahead and jump into another one. Alright, so next up we have Brock or Not. And in our starting hand, we do have our Adam Warlock. So we're going to be able to play that card, and then we get our Daredevil as well. We don't have a good follow-up for our Adam Warlock for turn 3. I think we go ahead and drop Daredevil into this far right lane. Ooh, and so they drop his Psylocke over there. Interesting. So they're going to ramp into a 4 power or a 4 cost card, potentially a Mr. Negative. And so we are going to drop our Adam Warlock into Subterranea to see if we can sneak away the 1 power upside. We do. And they have a Morph, which they gotta rock. Oh my gosh. Brock or Not, I'm so sorry. That was a 1 in 4 shot. You had a pretty good shot at hitting our Doc Ock, or even a Drax, or just some decent cards, and you got the down roll of the rock. I am so sorry. All right. So with that one out of the way, we're going to go ahead and jump into a new one. All right. So next up we have Nicolas. And in our starting hand, we have our Professor X. So if we can draw into Daredevil and a couple of other early game resources. Oh, so they're running a Deadpool deck. So we can anticipate, that's a pretty cool Deadpool variant. We can anticipate a Killmonger, a couple of destruction tools like a Venom, which would end up being a good target for our Shang-Chi on a surprise turn 7 play. And so if we can draw into magic, if we can draw into some of our other early resources, and then we get the double on reveal here. Do we take the risk? I think we take a chance here. I think we drop our Groot. We hope that they drop something there. I think they'll probably do it into the vault, or maybe something into Icebox. I don't think they do Camartage this turn, but I do want the opportunity to get the double trigger of Groot, which would give it +6 power. It'd be a 9 power card on turn 3. Oh, they do drop a card there. All right. So we already have a 9 power Groot. For them to do a Forge, which, okay, that makes sense. This is that's a huge demon. So are they not planning on dropping a Killmonger this game? I'm okay with it if they do. I mean, since we're not going to be able to play cards into this location on turn 6, I do want some decent power. So I'm going to go ahead and drop our Devil Dino there just in case they are keeping their cards there. And so then they do a Venom, which is tricky. So this is the last turn that cards can be played into this lane. So do they invest additional resources here or not? Because if they don't, then the Shang-Chi's kind of feels a little bit wasted. But if we can draw into, I may like that a little bit better. If we can draw into our magic, then we have the opportunity. We're gonna flood their hand with cards with our Maximus. So we have 4 cards left. If we can draw 2 of them, that's a 50-50 coin flip. That we draw into our magic, which will allow us to extend the game. We'll be able to play cards into the vault again. So they do drop a Bucky Barnes, Deadpool, and then a Carnage to get the upside in Icebox. But of course, we flood their hand. They have all of their cards from their deck, now. Oh, we almost made it where they couldn't pull back into Deadpool. That would have been amazing. So they had 6 cards in hand, and so then I guess it would have just been destroyed if it couldn't return to their hand, which would have been phenomenal. So magic here, I anticipate that they play Deadpool and Taskmaster. They have a lot of resources. They can really do whatever they want here. And so they've done 2 of their 3 destruction tools or mechanisms. I anticipate that they drop their Deadpool this turn. We do have both Killmonger and Shang-Chi. We'll be able to play into the vault because it only specifically says on turn 6. So on turn 7, perfectly fair game. So we're going to be able to drop our Shang-Chi here to destroy their Venom. We can do a Killmonger. So it depends if we're winning on this turn, at the end of this turn or not. With dropping magic being such low tempo, we probably will not have initiative, which is what we want with a Shang-Chi and with a Killmonger. You want to kind of come in for that sneaky, like last reveal play so that you can hit any big cards that they drop that turn as well. Okay. So they do drop 3 cards here. We know one is going to be Deadpool. They still have 4 in hand. Ooh, one is Death. That's a bit scary. Maybe we leave this lane alone. I don't know that we can compete with this because the only target is going to be our Death here. So we Shang-Chi here and we Killmonger here, and we have initiative. So this will trigger. It will only hit Forge. And we'll kill their Venom, so it doesn't matter. That gets buffed up. The only other thing I could see them running is a Killmonger for another Initiator, but I think we have this. We're gonna go ahead and snap. I feel fairly confident in this last turn play. We have a pretty big Devil Dino, so it's hard. They've already dropped their big resources. The last card that they dropped was Deadpool and not Death. So if they have a Taskmaster here, they're not going to be able to play it for that big 12 power push. So I think we're fine in the vault. Maybe not, though. Maybe not. That double drop does scare me because we only have 13 power because we did drop 2 cards here. So we have a big lead in Camartage. They drop a Killmonger, nothing to worry about, and a Brood, nothing to worry about. Easy peasy. Never doubted it for a second. Never doubted the process. We doubted it a little bit, guys. Unfortunately, not a Daredevil game, but still a good game nonetheless. We are going to go ahead and jump into another one. All right, so next up we have our Turinator. And our starting hand, we have our Groot. So if we can draw into our Adam Warlock here, that would be perfect. Oh, and then miniaturized lab. So we don't draw into our Adam Warlock, but we do draw into a Daredevil. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and drop our Daredevil into the miniaturized lab. They have several 1-cost cards here. Do we go ahead and pull our Killmonger trigger so that they don't get an increased upside from Nova? I don't know that it's necessarily worth it, and I think that they probably drop their Carnage this turn. I don't think they drop cards into Clintar. So I'm going to go ahead and drop Groot in anticipation of them dropping a Carnage. Hey. I think Daredevil and being able to predict the future fits us. There was a comment on our last video. And so, speaking of our last video, thank you guys so much for all of the feedback, all of the support. It's just been overwhelmingly positive, even for our standards. And so thank you guys so much for continuing to just show up for the content and just enjoy the videos. And so our Daredevil ability is going to trigger here. Oh, so they're skipping. You're going to skip this turn? So part of me wants to destroy their Warpath and Carnage with a Shang-Chi. But since they're skipping here, I think maybe they're running an Infinite style deck. We're going to go ahead and drop our Doc Ock to, and maybe they didn't mean to skip. We're going to go ahead and drop our Doc Ock, which is going to pull all 4 cards that they have in their hand onto the board in Clintar. They're going to get -2 power 4 times over. And so we're going to be able to get some decent upside. We're going to be able to take away their Warpath bonus. And they do have a Sunspot, which we know will be able... Never mind, they don't have a Sunspot. The Deathlock destroys it. And then they have armor, which flips last. So unfortunate. Arturinator, so unfortunate. And this being the final turn, do we want to invest our resources here? Where do we want to invest our resources? They're going to think this is the last turn of the game. And I guess it could be. It very well could be. Because we could steal this lane, but that'd be all we could drop. Okay. I was trying to figure out the play line, but this is the most obvious. We are going to change the flooded location to a non-flooded location, just in case they drop Oh man, we shouldn't have changed it. So now they're going to be able to drop resources into Limbo this turn, rather than it being locked out and us having to win. Very, very unfortunate. Very poor decision on our end. So they do drop the Infinite. They have one more card in hand, so maybe like a Chavez. I think we drop our Shang-Chi here, which destroys Infinite, and then 7 is not going to be enough here. Do we push it here? Oh, this one's rough. This one is really, really rough. I don't see a lot of great upside. No. So we're going to go ahead and just do it like this. Destroy their Infinite. Hope that they don't drop resources here. And then depending on where they drop their other resources. So maybe, I don't know. I think they drop it into Limbo. That's why we're putting our Maximus there. Ooh, they drop it over into Savage Lands. No way? What? Arturinator, I'm in disbelief. I really, the Shang-Chi had to have snuck up on him. Had they dropped the Cosmo here instead of here, absolutely would have had this one locked down. They would have won, no questions asked. And so we are going to jump into one more, see if we can get a good trigger of Daredevil here. All right, so next up we have Cruiser 3000. And I wanted to say thank you. We had a new person join in on the channel membership in Jorge Plays Games. And so thank you, Jorge, for supporting the channel. You get access to several cool free perks, some emojis, early access to certain videos, all kinds of cool things with the channel membership. So thank you. We are going to go ahead and drop our Daredevil into this far right lane. Bar with no name is tricky, but if we draw into our magic, we can always change it on turn 6 to kind of surprise the opponent. And then if you've made it this far in the video and you're enjoying it and you haven't subscribed, if we win this game right here, please subscribe. And so we do draw into our magic, so maybe we do something with Bar with no name, because whoever is winning Baxter Building is by default going to lose right now Bar with no name. So this is one we have to extend the game to be able to get the upside here. We are going to go ahead and drop our Maximus here though. That way we get power out onto the board, and we're hoping that maybe they're running like a low to the ground zoo style deck, and that we're going to be able to get a decent amount of upside here. I am going to go ahead and drop our Drax into Baxter Building. I think they switch and invest a card or drop a card over here this turn. That's our read, and we're sticking to it. They could also be flooding the rest of Clintar, but I do think that if they're going to switch and put any resources into Baxter Building early, it would be now. So we did get the good read in Baxter Building as well. So they drop a Strong Guy, and Strong Guy is in a funny spot. So if he triggers on the last turn, we can hit him with Shang-Chi. And then we did drop Daredevil, so we're going to be able to wait, see what they play. Such a cool mechanic. We're going to be able to pull cards in if we need to or if we want to. They have a pretty full hand. And then we do have Shang-Chi in our hand. We have Iron Man, we have Devil Dino, and then we also have Magic. So come on, Cruz. I wonder what it looks like from the other end, honestly. I haven't ran across a Daredevil yet, and so I am curious. So they drop a Nakia, which is interesting, and then they drop a Lady Sif. So they have four cards left in their hand. We have initiative. This tells me that this is a perfect Doc Ock play. They're not going to get the upside of a discard from Lady Sif. They're not going to get the upside of buffing any cards in their hand up, because we're going to pull all of them into the bar with no name first. So let's go ahead and lock that in. Super fun kind of quirk to knowing what the enemy is going to play. So they have a Swarm, they have a Koye, they have their Electra, and they have Blade. And so very, very, very low to the ground deck. But we know that now they only have one card in hand. I think this turn we go ahead and we extend the game here. So you snapped, that's okay. You probably are not anticipating the Magic play here. And so we're going to go ahead and snap back. We have the Magic play. They're going to be able to buff up their strong guy here. We can pop in with a Shang-Chi on next turn when they draw and drop their one other card. And so we do have a pretty big surprise component here. We extend the game, we swing Limbo in our favor. They're not going to be able to swing this one. We know that they only have one card left. And so it's probably their 8-power Apocalypse. And so I think our best bet is that we drop Shang-Chi here, and then just for giggles, we can kill their Nightcrawler, their Ant-Man, their Blade, their Electra. We can kill a decent amount of their board. Oh, Cruiser. And so knowing where they played and what they were planning on playing, I think really helped us solidify what play we were going to have on turn 5 there. So I love the interaction with Daredevil Doc Ock. I love the interaction with Daredevil and Professor X. And then I'd imagine that I'd love the interaction with Daredevil and Hobgoblin as well. If we're playing a deck list where we're trying to force them to cap out certain locations, we can send over a big negative unit. If it's, let's say they have 3 cards in that lane after they drop cards, we can force them to cap it out. So I think I'm gonna actually enjoy Daredevil quite a bit. On first glance, he can feel very underwhelming, but he is so fun to play. We had a pretty decent run with him. We bumped up to 71 with this very first iteration of the deck draft in about 6 or 7 games. We bumped up 12 cubes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, go ahead and hit the like button down below. Leave a comment. I love interacting with you guys. And if you like the content and you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. It does help the channel grow and expand. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This has been TLSG. Later, guys.